Is there a meeting? Okay. Alrighty, since it's an unofficial meeting, I don't think we have to worry about approving an agenda or any meeting minutes. So we'll go right into my chair's report. And then from there, we'll go down the rest of the agenda. Alrighty. So as you probably heard, the MTA-IG has issued a report, which is available upon request, to the MTA board that 3 dozen LIRR yard workers have submitted bogus timesheets over the past couple of years. The Long Island Railroad has assured board members that it is taking the most serious disciplinary action permitted against these workers. One of the MTA board members is pushing, with my full support, for criminal charges to be brought, but the Suffolk County District Attorney has declined to prosecute at this time. I recently attended a New York Building Congress breakfast in New York City with PCAC staff and executive board members, where Andy Byford was the keynote speaker. Mr. Byford gave a presentation on Penn Station revitalization plans and the current timeline for achieving key project milestones. Amtrak issued a request for proposals last week for the project's first phase. They are also reconvening the Station Working Advisory Group, or SWAG, later this month, and I do plan on being in attendance. As far as metrics are concerned, Long Island Railroad on-time performance continues to be in the mid-90 range, and the percentage of pre-COVID ridership was 98% in September. The rate of morning commuters using Grand Central Madison has now exceeded the original estimate of 40%, reaching 42% in September. I will continue to follow up with the Long Island Railroad regarding a recent site visit to 3 stations on the Ronkonkoma branch to review the Help Point project. The requested masonry repairs at the southeast ramp of the Deer Park station have been completed, and there is other work to be discussed and or scheduled. The Long Island Railroad and MTA recently rejected a non-binding recommendation issued by the Presidential Emergency Board following their negotiations with 5 Long Island Railroad unions. Wage increases and work rule changes remain the major sticking points, and the lack of a resolution is moving us closer to a potential strike in either January or May of 2026. Also, while not in the written portion of the chair's report, I just wanted to mention that we did receive the resignation from Suffolk County member Peter Gorey. And now that the election is over, we will be reaching out again to Nassau and Suffolk County to try and get some more board members submitted, or potential board members submitted, up to Albany. Right now, we're down to a council of 5, 2 Nassau reps, 2 Suffolk reps, and 1 from Brooklyn. And lastly, new schedules will take effect on Monday, the 10th. Changes appear to be very minor, as they usually are. And that's it for my chair's report. If anybody has any questions.
Just add briefly, we've also been in touch with the Queen's BP's office, who has a number of names in mind for their seat that they're considering.
Well, that's good news. That's excellent news. Yeah, I know Lisa said she had some connections over in the Queen's office, and she was going to follow up.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
His staff has been quite responsive. Stu has his hand raised.
Just 2 quick questions. Do you know why the prosecutor's refusing to prosecute those cases right now? And the other question is the Long Island Railroad or the MTA taking any kind of action that would preclude this sort of misconduct in the future? Thanks.
Oh yeah, they've tightened things up considerably. One of the big problems were, out of those 36 people, 5 of them were supervisors. So I think the railroad realizes now they have to have somebody to watch the watchers, which should have been in place beforehand. Also, they had originally instituted these biometric scanners so that when you signed in, you'd have to put your thumb on it or something like that. And they started that 2019, then COVID hit. So then they stopped using those scanners, and why they're just now putting them back in place, I don't know, but that is one of the things they are adding. So yes, they are taking whatever precautions they can. And they are going to try and take whatever kind of disciplinary action they can against the 36 people. A few of them have already retired once they got wind that they might be subject to something. So it's a difficult situation.
And do you know
The
why
reason-
they're not being prosecuted?
That's the DA's call. He claims that the IG didn't present the evidence in a proper manner for him to prosecute. I'm a little upset because just because he didn't get it handed to him with a nice little red bow tied around it, there should be definitely enough. Maybe not to get all 36, but I'm sure there's enough evidence against 4, 5, 6 of them. The person who provided the duplication machine, to duplicate these badges. I mean, that right there, that's intent to defraud. So at the very least, that person should have been prosecuted. So again, I was very disappointed in the district attorney. And I'm a Suffolk County resident. Unfortunately, he ran unopposed this year. If he was running against somebody, I guarantee you, the person from the other party would have definitely used this as a campaign point. And that's about all I could tell you.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? All right. I don't have an agenda in front of me. What's next on the list, Brian?
Anna's up next. If
Anna's up.
she
Anna here?
has an update.
Okay.
Hi all. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anna.
It's always nice seeing you again. I know I wasn't able to join you all last week, but happy to be here again. Just a couple quick things. There's no. I just want to make sure folks, and I'm sure folks are well aware about the limited mainline service happening this weekend. I sent out a couple of notifications, and folks have been a little concerned, but I think for the most part, outreach has been working pretty well. On the Oyster Bay branch, the schedule is still run. They operate on schedule throughout the weekend, just letting folks know that they should add another 30 minutes of travel time. On the Ronkonkoma branch is about 50 minutes of additional travel time. And, I believe on the Port Jefferson and Huntington branch will be about similar additional travel time. But luckily, outreach has been really well to all our relative municipalities. For the ADA projects, really excited. I know it was mentioned in my notes from last meeting. Auburndale's elevator has opened, as well Valley Stream in St. Albans. Valley Stream's escalator is still anticipated to be reopened at beginning of December. The date is still to be determined. And the elevator openings at Lucas Manor and Laurelton are also to be determined as well, but I believe it's going to be before the end of the year. I'm not too sure if this is knowledge to everyone here, but the Rosedale waiting room, unfortunately, due to the upgrades to its security system, has been closed for the last couple of weeks. We're hoping to have an update on the reopening, hopefully early next week, from our vendor. And from there, that's pretty much it. Open for questions.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Anna?
Britt?
Hi, Anna. I think I missed last month's meeting, which I know you did too, but I think I had some items from a few meetings ago about the gap in the Atlantic branch schedule. I had some follow-up questions about why the 10 to 11 a.m. Hour was chosen to do those inspections. Just wondering if there's any update on that.
Yeah, so we need daylight to do those inspections on those tracks. So unfortunately, that's usually the window of time that we have to do those inspections there. I don't have a tentative completion date of the inspections. So that tentative gap is going to be continuous into the next timetable change. But unfortunately, just don't have much of an update other than, unfortunately, we have to do those inspections when there's daylight out.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And just to confirm, it's not indefinite. There will be
It's just due to testing as of right now. That's all I have. I just don't have a completion date.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, do we have anything else, Rena?
I have a quick question. How are things going in terms of getting the word out about the fair and policy changes coming year? We're about a little under 2 months away from that.
Yeah, things are going pretty well. We're going to be doing some additional internal briefings, as well as we're planning to do some external outreach, probably some tabling events. That's still in the works. We don't have tentative dates and locations as of yet, but as soon as we have more information about the external outreach, I definitely will make sure to get the full schedule to you all so you can promote it as well.
No, we'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Will you be laying any additional customer outreach on, trains, platforms, stations, etc., on top of that outreach?
We're rolling out a bit of a plan there. Just the specifics are still being worked out ahead of the change early January. So as soon as we have more, hopefully I should have more of the solidified plan. I said that word like 14 times today. A solidified plan for outreach. I should have that for our next meeting in December. So hopefully I can have more to share then.
Okay, Anna, do we have any word on the new ticket machines? I think I saw one in Penn Station.
Yes, there's one at Penn, I believe. That's from our initial rollout as of right now. And I'm still waiting for a full installation throughout the rest of our system. But the one at Penn Station was from our initial pilot program.
Okay, great.
Anna, if I could just ask a question regarding Omni for students.
Mm.
I had someone contact the office the other day regarding student discounts for, I guess they live on the border of like the Queens, Long Island area, and they weren't comfortable taking the bus. They wanted to know if they could take the railroads. Is there anything that's being offered to students on the railroads? I know there's no discounts on the railroads through Omni officially, but is there something that the school could fill out or anything?
I probably would need more information. Just I'm curious, is the student traveling to a New York City school, a school within the 5 boroughs, or are they traveling to a school outside out east? So I would say just if you wanted to send me an email, I just need more specifics before I can give you an answer.
Okay, but just to like the knowledge of the Omni cards for students are not allowed to be used on the railroads. Is that correct?
That I would need a little more information because I know those like I grew up in Queens, so we had those green Metro cards, and that's because I was living in Queens, going to school. I was going to a New York City department, high school, so they gave me those student cards. So that's why I just need a little more information to just see.
Okay, yeah, I didn't get
well.
into the logistics. I was just not sure. That's why I found it to, just to reach
Yeah,
out.
I just need a little more information just so I can get back to you.
Okay, thanks.
All righty, do we have anything else, Rena?
If not, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us on our visit to out east to Deer Park, Wyandanch, and Farmingdale. Luckily the repairs at Deer Park have been underway. The ramp, like you mentioned before, has been fully repaired, and there's a bit of platform work that's going to be ongoing. And hopefully we have an update on the Farmingdale wayfinding inquiry in the coming weeks as well.
All righty, and also just to give you a heads up, I know we're just getting the new machines now, so I don't want to push it, but sometime in the future, I will be asking about a review of where we have our machines placed. Like in Farmingdale, there's nothing. Majority of the people who buy tickets buy it on the westbound side going into the city in the mornings. And it'll be particularly more important now because you won't be able to get, come January, we won't be able to get the 10 trip tickets anymore. So people will have to be buying every time they come in. So like when we do the rollout, maybe we get a ticket machine over there in Farmingdale on the westbound side. I know we talked about the wayfaring. Also, I think there was that one Help Point station in Deer Park that's inactive. So we need to either put a sign on it that says it's inactive or just get it removed. I know you're not ready to put the new ones in yet, but again, it's something. And that's about it.
Yeah, the one with the help point unit, I did flag that for the project team, and I asked them to either address and let me know what the plans are, or if there is an installation date of the new unit, to just to move that out of the way so it doesn't cause confusion there, as that unit is unfortunately not in use. And I think you make a great point in regards to the location of the tick machine. So hopefully that coincides with the installation. I'm gonna see if I can get a timeline soon, as in the stations, and that could be something I can share either in the next meeting or the following.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, anything else for Anna? Going once, going twice. Anna, thank you so much again for joining us. We always appreciate having that direct connection to the railroad.
Always a pleasure. Talk to me. Have happy holidays, and I'll see you next month, hopefully.
Yep. Thanks, Anna. Alrighty. What's next, Brian? The executive director's report, which I assume you'll be doing?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, just a few things to touch base on in the last month. We've continued to remain focused on the fare changes and everything that is going to change for riders leading into January, both on transit and on the railroads. And we'll continue to be pushing the MTA for as much outreach as they can possibly do in the time they have. We're thrilled, obviously, that the family fare discount that we were pushing for, as well as the AM peak discount, were in the fare changes. But we are also thinking about what's next with our legislative agenda in Albany for this coming year, and what we'd like to continue to advocate for to make the trip more affordable and the fares more rational for riders on the railroads. I think I could circulate around our draft agenda at some point in the not too distant future. But if anyone has any thoughts about coming out of the fare changes, wow, I wish we would have had X or Y or Z, or I'm still fed up with A, B, or C. It's even after the changes go into effect in January. Please keep that in mind. We're always looking to expand the legislators that we're engaging on fare related topics. And they love being able to introduce legislation that we suggest to continue to push the railroads to do what's best for their riders. So even as things go into, I guess, long story short, even as things go into effect in January, would look to you all to give us feedback on what's working and what's not, and any ideas that you have for changes that you'd like to see sooner rather than later. Otherwise, Jack and Lisa are continuing our congestion pricing push. They just finished a panel on congestion pricing in Puerto Rico at the Somos convention, where they're also meeting with legislators and trying to figure out next steps for some of our bills that we have, including the Rider Rep Act to get Jerry a voting seat, which we passed the Senate this past year, and we hope will move further this coming year. Jack and I also went to the New York State Public Transportation Association conference last week in Saratoga Springs, where Jack received the Joseph Boardman Award, which is given to honor a young contributor to the transportation field for early successes and planned future ones, which was really, really great. While we were up there, we had a chance to talk with leadership members from various transit organizations around New York State. particularly about a new piece of work that we're excited about called the Integrated Transit Project, which is essentially what we see as like an extension of our work around Omni and fare integration between transit and the railroads, trying to encourage New York State transit providers to come together and make for a more integrated and seamless fare policy around the state. So whether you're riding a bus in Suffolk County or you know, riding the subway or a bus in Rochester, or the light rail in Buffalo, that you can go from one system to another on the same fare card and have your fare. If you're a senior or a rider with a disability, you can get your discounts transferred from one to another seamlessly, and also provide a lot of support for smaller transit agencies around the state to integrate contactless payment with phones and credit cards like we're able to do now with Omni on Transit, to other systems around the state as well. So that's a piece of work that I think we're really excited about launching to get us out there in the New York state transit sphere a little more broadly. We're still kind of putting together the details on that. So if anyone's curious about it and wants to dig into it further, I'd be happy to talk in more detail with you at some other point. Or we could talk more about it at a later meeting. Would definitely love Jack to be a part of that when he's here. Yeah, it's something that we think has a lot of interest from Buffalo to Suffolk and everywhere in between, and got some great responses from folks up at the conference. Otherwise, those are the big things from our end. We're continuing to do a lot of work around buses in the city and are going to be having a press conference on Monday, talking about making buses faster and more reliable, releasing a joint report with the Strap Hangers campaign, which is an effort of NYPIRG. So yeah, just plenty happening on the city side, a little quieter on the railroads right now, but a lot coming up with the upcoming legislative push this coming year. And on that point, we also did meet recently with the governor's office to talk through our priorities, and got some good feedback on our proposals and what they think is possible this coming year.
Okay, that's great. Speaking of upcoming and speaking of Jack, Jack will be accompanying me to the Vision Long Island breakfast and this Friday, December 5th. And there is like a little small transportation workshop there. So I'll be on that board with a couple of other members. I think they usually have somebody from Nice Bus, Suffolk Transit. So again, we'll be getting ourselves out there. Anything else, or is that, do we have any questions? I can't see everybody, so you have to let me know if anybody's got their hand raised.
Nope.
And I think the only thing else we had on the agenda was like old business, new business.
Could I do a social media report?
I do.
Oh,
Just
I
a couple.
apologize.
That's okay, no problem. Just a couple of quick things. First, there were a couple of issues this month with last minute track changes not being announced immediately on the train time app at various stations. So there were a few instances of riders having to scramble across the railroad system, which might be tied to the fact that in late October, the train time app had an outage for a couple of hours on the day, October 21st. And that caused a lot of people who had purchased digital tickets to have to pay more for the onboard step-up fare just because they weren't able to prove that they had a ticket. And so there were some issues with people getting refunds for that. That raised some concerns. And then lastly, there were some issues with riders using reduce their Omni card as ID to prove that they qualify for the senior or disabled ticket, and conductors not fully accepting it or believing riders who are using that as verification, because the Metro card used to have a photo on the Omni card for those in that population, and now the Omni card does not. And so there were some communication issues with conductors not fully knowing that they're able to use that as proof. So that seems like an internal MTA thing that they have to work out. But those were the three main points this month.
Okay, Kara, have we forwarded that to MTA headquarters?
So the final one had gotten a little bit of press attention. The LIRR Today blog had picked it up a bit, so we have not forwarded it to them, but we definitely can. But it may be on
Yeah,
their radar.
I definitely would, because again, we do know that the end users do have some problems with Omni. There's still some bugs to be worked out. So I think any information, any feedback that we can give them from our ridership will help them, you know.
Definitely. Yeah, we will. Thank you.
All righty. Do we have any questions for Kara? Okay, no hands up.
Nope.
All righty. Any old business or any new business anybody wants to bring up?
Hey, Jerry, I'll bring something up.
All right.
With Mr. Mondani, the chairman has said in regard to this free buses and subways or whatever, he's looking to see what he can do about that. What is the meaning of that? I mean, like, it's really going to happen? They're going to get free buses and subways?
Well,
I
the
don't think
bottom,
subway's not on the table, Larry. It's just
Oh, is it just buses?
just buses,
Okay.
strict buses.
Yeah, well, because he said in a press conference that he's looking into what can be done about that. It's like, you know, you're saying something like that, and then you're going to ask for a fare increase too. You know, that's not going to go over very well in many ways.
But that's two separate issues, because the fare increase comes from the MTA, all this free bus stuff, that's on Mandami. And again, nothing's free. There is no free lunch. You know, somebody's got to pay for the sandwiches. Same thing, buses run, so whatever the cost of free buses, it's going to have to be reimbursed by the city of New York. He seems to think by raising certain tax rates, he can accomplish this, but I don't think he fully understands what the cost will be, you know, to provide this service. And
yeah, Jano said he's looking into it. I mean, he was, you know, total, you know, not like I don't see that really happening. He said he's looking into the possibility of it happening. It's like, what?
well, again, Jano has to play nice with the new administration. You know, you don't want to call him out too much in public. I'm sure behind closed doors, it'll be, what are you, freaking crazy?
Yeah.
You know, how are we going to pull this off? But again, the MTA's got to be made whole. And there's other things that I'm sure Mandami isn't considering. One of which is if the buses are free, obviously more people will use them. But where you have the option of taking a bus or using a subway, if you could take a bus for free versus taking a subway for $3, you're going to take the bus. So the buses will be more crowded. We'll probably need to run more buses. You know, you run more buses, you know, do we have enough buses to handle everything?
Mm-hmm.
That's a question. And again, you need the bus operators to either run on diesel or they run on electric, but there's a cost for everything. So I don't think Mondami's really got the whole big package together of what this is going to cost them. You know, we'll see. I'm very skeptical personally. I don't see it happening, but you know, that was one of his major campaign promises. So I guess he's going to do whatever he can to make it happen, but it's not going to be overnight. You're not going to have free buses on January 1st when he takes office. That's for sure.
Yeah, and also then I've been in Washington for the last few days, and then Mr. Trump is starting about his whole rhetoric and again about canceling congestion pricing, or New York will no longer get funding. So, you know, the rhetoric today also about why Mandani hasn't called him yet. He blasted him on Fox News this morning.
Hey, you know, that's politics beyond our control, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's nothing from a legal standpoint new about the recent threats. It's still congestion pricing still up in the air with awaiting a ruling from Judge Lyman, who's got the MTA suit against the feds in his court. I was just talking with Andrew Siff from NBC4 earlier today. He said he's heard that the ruling is pretty imminent, probably within the next week or two. You know, I think everyone expects, given congestion pricing undefeated in court battles so far, that it will be a ruling in favor of the MTA. So we're keeping our eye on that. On the bus stuff, just so you're aware of what we have been saying, it's very much in line with what Jano said. It's not only do we need to make up the fare revenue, but you have to, you know, the worst thing that could happen would be you make buses free and then they become slower and less reliable. So you're definitely going to need to increase service, more buses, more riders, more depot space even, a lot of hurdles to overcome. Is it doable? Yeah, I mean, it's doable, but it will be expensive and there will definitely need to be a lot of planning and action that takes place. But I know for me personally, as someone who worked on pre-K expansion during the de Blasio administration, a lot of people were saying that wasn't possible when he took office, and 8 months later, we had the start of a free pre-K for all program, which, yeah, I'm happy I took part in that because I've had 2 kids take part in that program since in the last few years, which has been great. So it's doable, but it's expensive, and it's going to take a lot of coordination.
And the other thing that has to be factored in is, as I mentioned earlier, if people have the choice of, riding a subway where they have to pay $3 or get a free bus, they're probably going to take the free bus. But they need to factor in the lost revenue, for the MTA, the revenue they're going to lose on the subway side if people are going to be taking it. And Jano made a good point. I think it was actually this morning, if he just makes everything, he really doesn't want to be making buses free, like on the Upper East Side, which is an extremely wealthy neighborhood of, he says he can understand neighborhoods where people are struggling and the $3 means something, but you don't want people in 3-piece suits riding the bus for free either if you can help it. So it's just difficult. How do you find that balance?
Yeah.
And
I'd say from our perspective, we've continued to push for faster, more reliable bus service. With the BRT report that we released over the summer, the work we're doing with strap hangers on Monday, and we're continuing to push for the expansion of Fair Fares program as well. I just popped a link to our one pager with some stuff that we've been advocating for. So we're going to keep talking about how that as well, because we know lower income folks are still going to need to use the subway even if buses are completely free. We don't want a system where buses are for low income residents and subways are for the people who can afford it. So it's a balancing act.
What's the name of that report you're working on with the buses? I keep thinking it's the creepy, and that does.
It's the strap hangers. For many years, the strap hangers put out a report called the Pokey and Schleppy Awards. The pokiest for the slowest bus in the city. The schleppiest is for the one that is most likely to bunch or be just unreliable. We've added a third award for this go around, the Mazel, to celebrate the most improved bus. So we'll be standing on 42nd Street on Monday morning, awarding those at a press conference.
Sounds good. All righty. So,
Stu has his hand raised.
Yeah, I was just going to say last call. All right, Stu.
Yeah, just quickly, I know it's fairly trivial, but regarding the train time app, if you've ever tried to cancel a purchase on that app, it's virtually impossible. I'm as familiar, I think, as anyone with it, and it took me 5 minutes searching the web just to figure out how to cancel a ticket. So it's sort of, especially with the new obnoxious rule, if you only have 2 minutes and you don't know exactly how to navigate that app, you can't cancel a mistake. That's something that should probably be looked at. And also, I don't know how this is from other westbound trains. but on the Montauk branch, the train time app never tells you what track you're coming in on at Jamaica. It tells you on the eastbound, but never on the westbound. So I don't know if that's something that should be addressed or could be. And that's all.
I wasn't aware of that. I know it tells you what track you're leaving on, like when at Penn Station or whatever, or what track it's leaving on. But I didn't realize it gave you tracks at Jamaica.
It does when you're going eastbound, it tells you what track you're coming in on. And if the track changes, it even, I think, turns red and shows you the new track. It doesn't show you on the westbound train that I take anyway. The ability to cancel tickets, so I think is cancel purchases is kind of something that should be addressed. I mean, it's kind of unfair if you make a mistake, you purchase 2 tickets by accident, or I mean, it happens, and it's virtually impossible to cancel, and then, it's a $10 fee if you want to go through the process. So I think that's something that should be addressed.
No, you make a very valid point, Stu. Yeah, that's something we'll look into. Okay, anybody have anything else?
No hands.
Right. Oh, see any hands or?
Nope.
Alrighty, so with no further business to conduct, we'll adjourn at 5:08 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Al.
All right, bye.